Good morning, everyone. Let's wait for 5-10 minutes so that everyone can join and we can start. Gopal ma'am, is Sweta ma'am here?
Yes, yeah.
She's here.
Okay, should we start?
Um, okay, she has joined from National Institute of Disaster Management.
Actually, I joined from the link, but automatically it has happened. That should I leave and join again?
No problem, ma'am. Can you rename from here?
I don't know how to do that. Let me try. No, there is no option.
No problem. Cicera, you may introduce, ma'am. No problem, ma'am. You can give talk from your this account only. No problem.
Okay, thanks, Kofa.
First speaker of today's session is Dr. Sweta Badyadas. She has done her PhD in Oceanography from National Institute of Oceanography. She has worked on the paleoclimate and monsoon shift from last glacial maximum to Holocene. Later, she was working in glaciology in Jawaharlal Nehru University and Ministry of Earth Sciences. She was also teaching disaster management in Jamia Millia Islamia. She worked as a research associate in climate adaptive planning for resilience and sustainable development in multi-hazard environment, shortly named as CAP Risk Project. Currently, she is a consultant in NIDM. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for this warm introduction. So I will just share my content. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gopal. So, at the starting itself, I would like to congratulate NIT Manipur and Dr. Gopal Verma for organizing such an wonderful training program. So, the topic that they have chosen is really apt and very timely, because since for last 2 years we are going through COVID pandemic. We all have gone through a lot of bad situations, lot of problematic situations. Some of them were controllable, some of them were not at all controllable. So very difficult situation all of us have gone through. But in those situations, the one thing all of us have gone through is stress. So it is really important to understand that how we manage stress, because if we don't know how to understand, then it is really difficult, because in today's world it is impossible that any person will go without any stress. So stresses will always be there, whether you are studying, whether you are doing your job, whether you are working in government, whether you are working in private sector, wherever you are doing anything. Everyone is going through different types of stresses and different levels of stresses. So stresses are like inevitable, but we should learn how to manage this effectively, so that the impact of stress is less on us, and we are kind of accustomed to the situation. So let us see how do we manage in different level. So first thing that obviously comes to mind is what is stress. So I'm sure in last 3 days many people must have discussed this, so I will not go into detail. So stress is basically a situation or some circumstances that actually require some kind of adjustment. So that could be your behavioral adjustment, that could be your adjustment in your daily habits or practice, or many other things. And the stress, this change could be good also, the change could be bad also. So we should never think that if it is a good change, we will not go through a stress. Even if it is a good change, then also it will pose some kind of stress on us. So only thing is, whether it is good or bad, our body always responds to that. So how it happens, Actually, the stress is a kind of human response towards the change, and that is a, of course, a part of daily living. So as I mentioned, whether you are traveling, suppose you are going to office, you are already late, you are getting stressed. You are going to, like for me, the entire night I couldn't sleep because I was in stress. This Tuesday I have a big program and I have to arrange for that. I have to send the letters, I have to arrange. So this is stress. This comes to everyone, irrespective of whatever who is doing. So we just have to, so what my body is doing, since I am in stress that I have to do this much of things, my body is always tired because it is not able to cope up with the situation that every time I'm in stress that I have to do this. So that is how it is. So stress always has a physical and emotional effect on us, and it can be positive. Suppose if I think that okay, tomorrow there is a marriage party, I will have to go there, then also there is a stress, I have to think, okay, what I will wear. I don't have anything to wear. Okay, I have to go and buy. Okay, that might fit me, that might not fit me, so I have to do fitting, then I have to prepare so many things, and then finally I will have to go to the marriage. So the good thing also gives you lots of stress, but that doesn't harm you much, but then the bad things definitely harm you more, because that gives you more of emotional effect. Okay, so that is the thing. Why my slides are not moving? Okay, yeah. So let us go to the symptoms of stresses. So how do you know you are in stress? So when you are in stress, what happens? Your body actually creates extra energy to protect itself. But when it creates extra energy, then what happens? Then it creates an imbalance in your body system itself. So that energy actually needs to be directed to something so that the responses are balanced. So whenever you are in stress, you feel like my heartbeat are more, then my bloods are flowing more. So this kind of thing, then you feel like your ears are becoming warm, your chins are becoming red. So all those things, so that happens. So the American Psychological Association, they have identified some 4 types of different stresses. So those are, first is acute stress, then episodic acute stress, then chronic stress, and the traumatic stress. So I will explain each stage of these stresses and what are their impacts. So first thing is acute stress. This can come to you anytime, as I mentioned that, you want to go to office and maybe there is some, say a few days back, we were going to office and all farmer protests were there on the road. So all the roads were blocked. And, even if nothing is there, every Monday morning, it is the case that the entire road will be, blocked by so many cars, because Monday morning everyone wants to go to the workplace early, and that is why it is always clogged and there is a big traffic jam and you are always in stress. Then suppose you have a deadline that okay, you have to submit your report by tomorrow, and you are thinking that okay, today is Saturday, I had a plan with my friend. So you are thinking, okay, how, whether should I go with my friend or whether should I complete my report for tomorrow? So again you have a stress, so this kind of thing. So you have suppose I have a kid, though he is very young, he's 10 months old, but suppose you have a kid who is going to school, and then there is a parent teacher meeting, so you are in stress. Your kid is not in stress because he hardly bothers, but you are in stress. The teacher will tell you, okay, your son or daughter is doing this. So that is how this acute stresses come to you. So there could be many symptoms that you can see here, that can raise your blood pressure, that can disturb your mind, that can create digestive problem, heartburn, then mental disturbances, all these things can come to you. Then I'll go to the next level of stress, that is level 2, episodic acute stress. So in this stress, what happens? Episodic acute stress is normally by intense reaction to everything. So what happens? There is a classic type of personality that is known as type A personality. So in those type of people, you will see some people will be there who are always into competitiveness. Okay, he has got 10 out of 10. How come I have got 9.5? I also need to get 10. So that kind of mindset. Then always aggressive. Okay, why did he tell me that? I need to answer him back. So those kind of thing. Then impatience, that some people will be there whenever you are telling something to him or her, they will not listen to you completely. When you are halfway through, they will start answering you, or they will start telling something. And you also must have seen, when suppose five people are together, suppose two people are talking, and the sentence is on the halfway, then the third person will start talking into that. So those kind of thing, impatience thing. And then some people are there, normally we call them busy bee. So always they will show some kind of urgency. Okay, I have to do it right now. So those kind of things. So those people are in the second level of stress. Those are known as episodic acute stress. So this includes all the symptoms. Those were there in the level 1. And then along with that, they might have some persistent headache. They will just have some medicine, the headache will go for some time, but then again it will come. Then hypertension, definitely. And then asthma also can come, chest pain also can come. But now, suppose you are staying in Delhi, Manipur, I know that there, the climate is too good. Not only climate, the air is so clean, but in Delhi, whomsoever is staying, they will be knowing that we, normally during the winter, it's more, so much of pollution. So you can say that, okay, asthma I'm getting because of pollution. That is also true, that you can get from pollution as well. But stress can be another reason. When suppose you are not in a polluted area, but still you are getting asthma or those kind of thing, then that can be a reason of your stress. And then definitely all these things will in combination will lead you to your heart problems. So now I'll come to the third level of the stress, that is the chronic stress. So in chronic stress, you will have, very long standing stresses that will actually wear you down, and it can be associated with problems like, you have some prolonged illness, or you have some dysfunctional family, or work dissatisfaction, or poverty. That can come from anything. So that again has symptoms like all the normal symptoms like loss of appetite, overeating, feeling insecurity, all those things will be there. Along with that, some chronic fatigue, then migraine, persistent anxiety, all these things will be there. Then finally comes the traumatic stress. So traumatic stress is the highest level of stress. Here you will normally see this kind of thing comes in a situation that comes to you very suddenly. Say suddenly you have lost your job, or suddenly you have witnessed a terrible crime in front of you, someone has killed someone, or you have some extreme financial issues. Suppose someone, they have taken to their very near and dear one to hospital, and then they do not have money that hospital is claiming. So all these things, and then maybe you have faced an accident in front of you, some sudden disaster has come. So all these things brings to you, a traumatic stress. So then again, here the feelings will be very unpredictable, because the level in the traumatic stress also, the stress level will be very different. Suppose if you are seeing that every year that cyclone is coming, or every year a flood is coming, then maybe some way you are bit accustomed to the situation, that is going to come. But then again, if suddenly some accident happens in front of you, then that comes as really really traumatic situation. So there will be some different levels of traumatic stage as well. So that can actually persist for very long time. But depending on the personality. So if someone is very strong mentally and they are doing some kind of mental exercise or something, then they will be able to come out of the situation very fast. But then if someone is only thinking about that thing which has happened and not going and mixing to people, talking to people, or not sharing his experience or her experience, then that thing can persist for a very longer time. So there will be some warning signs of excessive stress. So those could be strong negative feeling, you are in fear, and then if some lady has gone through some very bad experiences, then they can also go through this kind of thing. So they will be scared of everything. They might be scared of the other people, especially the child, if they have gone through some um, not acceptable kind of experiences, then they always contain that in the back of their mind. Even if they grow, that thing always works. So, and that can even lead to some physical problems in long run as well. So then that can also lead you to some kind of mental persistent problems, that you are not able to think clearly. Then you have some problematic behavior, you are not able to mix up with people, you are always having conflicts and all. So those kind of things will be there. So then these are the signs that you should know that this is the time I should go and talk to some maybe experts. Now many people are there who can help you, and nowadays I don't think it is a taboo that you go for a mental checkup and someone is there to help you. That is absolutely fine. Anytime you can go, because any one of us can go through some unwanted situations. Maybe we want, or maybe we do not want. So we need to take it very like a very normal thing. So now we can have different types of stresses for different people. Suppose someone is doing a normal job, for them the stress will be something different. Now think of someone who has gone as a rescuer to a place where people are in trouble. Suppose the rescuer who has gone to a place where cyclone has taken place, where some fire has taken place, or where some earthquake has taken place. So see, some people who are going there, what they will do, first group of people, suppose NDRF, so they are our sister concern type of thing. So what they do, they are National Disaster Response Force. So the first thing they do, wherever there is a disaster, they will just go and reach there. So what they do, they will rescue people. So whenever they are rescuing people from very difficult situations, suppose earthquake is there, then maybe someone is buried under something, someone has lost their some part, maybe hand or leg. So some part of the body is missing, so they are seeing those kind of things. So those are very disturbing pictures. So when they are seeing this for long time, they actually get mentally too much stress. So we also should think of people who are actually rescuing people from this distress, and they are becoming mentally very stressful. Then again, there is a group of people who will be there, counseling stuff. So we are going to counseling stuff for our relief. We need to talk to someone and we need to get rid of the problem, but then we have to think, what the counseling stuff, they are also listening to these problems for days together, for months together, for years together. So they also become very stressful, I'm sorry. So we also should think of them, and we have to take care of them as well. So in workplace, if someone is having stress, then what we can do is we can go through some self-driven activities which can help us. So first thing is that self-awareness, management of workload. You can distribute your workload, so which one is most important that I can do first, which one is the least important that I can do later, and then you can make some, actually you should make some kind of work-life balance, that is very important. And then other stress reduction techniques like yoga. So I must say our Dr. Kopal is a yoga trainer also, so she can train how to do some yoga. And I must tell you that when we were going through pandemic, Dr. Gopal actually used to, train us sometimes for yoga classes and all. So it's really important. It gives you mental peace. And when you have mental peace, half of your body problems are gone. So it is very important that you keep mental peace within you. And then, if then also it is not working, then definitely you can go to some counselor, you can go to some doctor always. Yeah. So what we can do is we need to promote some kind of positive workplace environment. We can do effective management structure and leadership. We can clear the purpose and goals and training. Functionally, define roles we can decide. Then we can always create team support. So, there is a saying in Bengali that when we are working in a team, even if we are, defeated, or if we are losing something, then there is no shame in that. But if you are doing it individually, you feel like, okay, that person is able to gain it and I'm not, I have lost it. So that gives you some kind of mental courage that, okay, all of us have tried, but then also even if we have not able to got it, that's absolutely fine. But the thing is, when you work in team, then the most of the time it does not create any problem, so it helps you functionally. Sorry, so then we need to also plan for stress management, because whenever we are in stress, if we are able to, so see, I will like to tell you that stress management is not only about, you are only thinking of how to manage your stress. So if you learn to manage your work life balance, if you learn to manage your work in time, then that itself is a part of your stress management. So that is really important. So now how you can minimize your stresses at workplace? So you can, relate to your workers. Then see, suppose you are in a superior position in your workplace and you are having some kind of trouble from your subordinate people to get work done from them, then you need to understand that you have to establish some kind of relationship. It's a professional relationship, but you need to make it so that whenever you are telling them to do something, they should not feel that, okay, this person is just bossing over us and we are not supposed to listen to him. Not that kind of feeling should not come. So you have to ensure that there is some kind of good environment, people are able to share their problems with you, so that helps. You can hold some regular meetings, some problem solving sessions, all those things are really important. Then you have to clearly communicate to the people that why you are telling them to do so, that can, how that idea can benefit them as well. So all these things you have to make them understand. One thing just I would like to clear, Gopal, how much time do I have? Is it over or? Sirisa madam, can you please tell me how much time do I have? Okay, I'll continue. So, you have to understand and acknowledge the fact that work is stressful. So whenever you are doing something, you should accept the fact that, okay, it is stressful, but then if I plan it well, it will go well. So you have, this way you have to promote an atmosphere which will help you work. So you have to know that nowadays we are all doing, not all of us, but yeah, some people are still continuing work from home. So we have to again balance, because in work from home, people are thinking, okay, he is in home only, so you can do it at any time. But then also you have to understand that even if it is a work from home, you have some time for your family and you have the time for your office. So you should, demarcate that timeline very specifically. That is really important. And then you can always do some breathing exercise. You can make some list of your work, which you can prioritize. Okay, this is the urgent most one, I need to do it first, and then you can list it out always. Then you can communicate your values, goals. All these things are important. Then we will just look into the factors those actually determine the stressfulness in a disaster situation. So let us think of a disaster situation now. So you have to think of three things. First thing is the feature of the disaster, then the community or societal factors, and then the characteristics of the individual involved. So these three things. So if we consider the features of the disaster, then you have to have familiarity with the event. You should know what are the things those are going to happen to us, what are the problems that we are going to face. Suppose there is a cyclone coming, then you have to understand that, okay, if cyclone is coming, then for next 2-3 days maybe electricity will not be there. Then we might not have drinking water, so we have to make some arrangement for drinking water and other unavoidable necessary purposes. And then we have to keep some food, stock at our home. Maybe we'll not get something outside for a few days. Similar might be the case for flood. So nowadays you always get an early warning from IMD department and many other sources, that whether a cyclone or flood is going to come, or if heavy rainfall is going to come, and in hills if heavy snowfall is going to come. So accordingly we can manage our situation so that that does not give you unnecessary last moment stress. So it is really important that it we are managing the situation in advance. So if you manage the situation in advance, that itself give you lots of peace, lots of mental peace. So it is really important. Then we have to understand that at community level, what are the pre-existing resources that you have. Suppose there is a flood situation and your many people who are living in the low-lying areas or have some single story building, those are drowned within the water. So they need to have some kind of resources kept for their food, for their water, for their medicine. If someone is injured, some first aid. So all these things. And also you have to take care of the people who are most vulnerable, like the pregnant woman, the children, and the elderly people. So for any of the disasters, these people will be in the maximum stress, because they like healthy people, young people, they can just run, they can just go to anywhere. But the elderly people, the children, the pregnant woman, they will not be able to do that. So you always need to take care of them. But once you take care of yourself, then comes the next. So you take care of yourself and then you take care of the other people as well. And then finally, you have to make an assessment of loss that might happen to you. That is not because that you will go into stress, but because so that you can make some provision, that even if some loss is going to occur to you, then also you will be able to manage the situation. Suppose some flood is going to happen and that is going to take some 15 days to resolve. Then you should have some money with you, some minimum amount of money. So maybe you will go to ATM, you will procure some money, because you need it at the time of flood. So maybe you need to buy some emergency medicines, or maybe you need to go to hospitals. That might be the situation. So you have to think of all this situation prior to the event, so that you are well prepared for the situation, and that itself will reduce a lot of your stress. So if you know that, okay, I have enough food at my home, I have enough drinking water, I have medicine, I have money, so you will be like, okay, let it happen, I'm more or less prepared for the situation. So that gives you some kind of mental peace to fight with the stress. Then comes so I will tell you how you minimize your stress before the disaster situation, during the disaster situation, and after the disaster situation. So before the crisis, what do we do? Normally, you have to make a weekly schedule at your home, that how your family members will be located if the some emergency situations come. Suppose if there is an earthquake, what you are going to do, what will be your plan for that time. So you have to sit and discuss with every member of your family, that how do we manage the situation if it going to happen then everyone will be aware of the situation. So see, you are reading, you are attending seminars, you are doing the situations, but your family members are not doing. So you need to go and explain them the situation, make them understand that what can happen, what might come, so that they are well prepared both mentally and from other aspects. So it is really important. So you also will have to think of some kind of home safety. Suppose if you can see, if your home is not having some kind of, by you I mean to say, if someone, so if someone is having some kind of home which the roof is not a pakka roof, so maybe they can plan of some extra cautiousness, so that even if some cyclone is there, the roof is not gone off. So those kind of thing. So plan early, plan for everything, plan for saving your resources, plan for saving your life, plan for saving your people. So everything. So you can keep some emergency bag in advance. So this I know many of our colleagues have already kept it ready. So what you can keep in that bag is like some clothes, some emergency medicines, water bottle, torch, this kind of thing. So there will be many guidelines. Even if you search in internet, you will get lots of guidelines that what could be that your emergency bag should contain. So that emergency bag should always be ready, so that see, in a condition like cyclone or flood, at least you get some time. But if there is a condition like landslide or earthquake that you frequently face in places where you are staying in Manipur or in other hilly regions, there you barely get any time. So this emergency ready bag is really important, that whenever you are going to face, because whenever there is an earthquake, you just get some not even a minute of time. So you have to be that prepared, that even if there is some 10 seconds time, you just pick your bag and you will just run. You will take along your baby or your elderly people, whomsoever is there at place. So you just need to think of all this and make yourself prepared. Then it's not moving. So during the situation, there is many things that you can do and you can take care. So actually you have to decide the individual role. Then here also I must mention that whenever there is a disaster coming, you have to plan. You have to plan earlier itself, so that during the situation you don't need to think anything. You just have to follow whatever you have already planned. Because if you start doing start thinking at the time of disaster, then that will be another disaster in itself. Because suppose earthquake is going on and you are thinking, okay, what should I do now, then only God can save you. So all the plannings have to be in the prior situation. All the plan execution will be done during the crisis period. So you can so for the institutional level, you can always keep some flexible hours for the workers. You can reduce noise as much as possible for the people. So this is for the rescuer, so you can give them some muffler, some kind of earphone. Then actually in many areas the real life problems are very different. I will tell you those problems. Suppose there is let's take some, suppose there is a flood. So what happens is, when there is a flood, suppose let us take a condition of some village. So in village level, what will you do? You will keep one hospital, or you will keep one school ready, where all the people can go and take shelter. Okay, so now if you have kept a school for all the people, what people will do? Everyone will go there and they will just try to save their life, right? That is what is expected during a disaster situation. Now what happens in a village? Now people will start thinking, okay, that person belongs to lower caste, so I am not supposed to stay with that person. Okay, so they will start creating some noise. Then again, the people who is cooking, maybe that person is not of his category or class, then he will think, okay, he's a lower caste person and he is cooking and I'm not supposed to take that food. So again they will create a problem. So these are the types of problems, that actually we face in the real life situation. Then another problems, we are only thinking of people, I mean human being, but we also should think about, the animals. So in suppose you have lots of pets at your home, and you have, say, cows or buffaloes or horses at your place. So how do you take care of them at the time of disaster is a big deal. Because if there is a flood, you are going to the top floor of a building and you are saving your life, but how do you take your cow to the top floor of the roof? That becomes a really challenging thing. So then we should always keep in mind that if there is a disaster situation, we will need to, take these animals along. We have to think of their food also, that what they will eat if there is a disaster situation. So we can always take them to some higher places, some at some height, some open space. We can keep a fodder bank for them. So those are the planning. Those are really required. So there are some guidelines for few states. We still not have the guidelines for all the states, but definitely if some state has prepared the guideline, that is always available online. We can go and see what are the guidelines, and we can learn from them and we can implement. It is not the case that if guidelines are meant for some state, that other state cannot implement that. At the crisis situation, everything is fair, so you can always implement that way, what is going to be better for people. So this is the thing. Then we will come to the after crisis situation. So after crisis, normally we take care of people, who are acutely injured, or they are hospitalized, or people, maybe some will go for delivery and all. So all these things are important. And again, people say, those who are going from mental stress, so we actually should take care of them. Suppose why people go for mental stress, not only because some urgent, earthquake has come, also might be because he or she has lost her or his near and dear one. So that is a big shock to absorb. Suppose a person's family, where the earning member, the bread earning member, he has died, and the rest of the people were dependent on them, and their house has also come down because of earthquake. And you can imagine the situation. Neither she or he, whomsoever are there, rest of the family members, they do not have their food, they do not have their shelter, and then they don't know what to do for the next day. They might also have kid, so they don't know what they are going to feed their kids. So those are the difficult situation, and that obviously brings you lots and lots of mental stress. So you need to understand that how do you take care of people at those kind of tricky situations. So you have to handle those, and all this comes after a crisis. So these are the things. And then many people, though, who will they will lose from their agriculture. Suppose someone does some paddy field or some other things, many types of agricultures are there. So suppose they are all the and in our country, all agricultural things that takes at least 3 to 4 months to grow. And suppose it is in the end situation. So I will tell you this, this time in West Bengal it is raining heavily, and this is the time when rice is almost ready, and they can but they cannot cut it right now, but they have to wait for another month to cut it. So it is in a situation, neither they can cut it, neither they can keep it at the field. So it is just spoiling, because due to rain, entire the production is being at loss. So these are the difficult situation, and we need to think of how we can help these people and how we can take care of this kind of situations. So those needs proper planning. So I will recapitulate the thing. So we have to manage the workload, we have to balance our lifestyle, we have to implement some stress reduction strategies, we have to increase our self awareness. So that would finally help us to reduce our stress, to bear with the situation. And that would be all for today. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So the next speaker is Miss Julia Weiheimba. She is a clinical psychologist, is currently working as an assistant professor at RIMS Imphal for the last 2 years. Earlier, she worked at Cypher Healthcare Hyderabad as psycho-oncologist and at Your Dost, India's leading online counseling platform, as clinical psychologist. She is trained in mindfulness, psycho-oncology, and has vast experience in digital counseling model. Ma'am, you may start your presentation.
Thank you so much, Sisira. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. All right. So, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, National Institute of Technology Manipur and National Institute of Disaster Management Delhi, for giving me this opportunity to give a presentation on the mindfulness in stress management. I'm very much honored. So yesterday and today also you have learned about what stress is, and my previous speaker also has mentioned about the types of stress and how stress affects one's life. And even previously also my colleague Dr. Rebecca has explained about stress. So today I'll be focusing on mindfulness, how we use mindfulness to reduce stress, for managing the stress. Right. So I will just share my, is my slide visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, yeah. So today I'll be focusing more on the mindfulness in managing stress. I would like to start with a definition of what mindfulness is. Definition given by John Kabat-Zinn, who is who first started the mindfulness stress reduction program, and who is also a founder of the stress reduction clinic at the University of Massachusetts. Even though mindfulness derives from the from significant element of Buddhism, the popularity of mindfulness in the Western culture is brought by many individuals, which also includes John Kabat-Zinn and few others. So according to John Kabat-Zinn, mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. This is what John Kabat-Zinn has defined mindfulness. So I just started immediately Has anyone heard about mindfulness or came across mindfulness? All right. Okay. Yeah, I can see some response. Thank you. Yeah. So, so mindfulness is simply an awareness of the present moment with an attitude of openness and acceptance. In simple words, it's a basic human ability to be fully present, to be aware of where we are, what we are doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. It's something that we all naturally possess. It's more readily available when we practice on a daily basis. Whenever we bring awareness to what we are directly experiencing through our senses or through our thoughts and emotions, we are being mindful. And there is growing research which shows that when you are training your mind to be when you are training your brain to be mindful, then you are actually remodeling the physical structure of your brain. So if mindfulness is something that we naturally possess, then how mindfulness is different from our default mode, right? So when we are in our default mode, say when we are under stress or when we are doing something, our minds get distracted. So when we are in our default mode, oftentimes many of us spend large parts of our lives in autopilot, not aware of what we are experiencing and missing out on all the sight sounds and all the small things that we could appreciate. Some of the time our minds are just switched off, and some other times we are caught in our thoughts from the past, mostly about regrets, and thoughts about the future, mostly which is repetitive and mostly which is apprehensions, mostly to do with apprehensions. Now when we do, and then when we do notice something in the present, our habit is often to judge instantly and react quickly, which limits our perspective and restricts our options or creates issues. So in such situations, mindfulness helps us to be present in our lives and gives us some control over our reactions and repetitive thought patterns. It helps us to pause, get a clearer picture of a situation, and then respond more skillfully. So mindfulness helps us to develop a steady and non-reactive attention. So just to give you an example, right before starting my session, if you have observed, if you have noticed, I went into a panic mode because I came with a preconceived notion that I was aware of yesterday's technical glitches while my colleague Dr. Rebecca was presenting her presentation. And also I am not very good with technology. So with that preconceived notion, I came, and with that, when I could not find, I was unaware that everybody was unmute, and then my sound was not working. I got into a panic mode, and I started. I started like telling my husband to come fast, and then made a blunder of myself, unaware that I had put my mic. I had not unmute my mic. So at that was me in a panic mode. Now, how mindfulness, when we practice mindfulness, how we can make a situation different. Let's see. Now, I'll give you another example. So consider how you would react when you don't think you are good at something. So the example I had given earlier, I I know that I'm not good at technology. So with that preconceived notion, I went into a panic mode. So that was, I reacted. I reacted to that, to the situation. Now, so if you, something like, when you know that you are not good at something, say for example, you try solving brain teasers and you know that you are not good at solving brain teasers. So when you are presented with a brain teaser, what do you do? Oftentimes, do you tell yourself, I am not good at this, I'm going to look stupid? And sometimes you might also tell yourself, I am a dumb. Right? So this will distract you from paying attention to working on the puzzle. Right. Now, let's see with mindfulness how the situation can be different. Right. So if you if you approach the situation with an open attitude, with no concern or judgment about your performance, just a curiosity about how working on the brain teaser might be. What if you directly experience the process as it unfolds? Right. So the challenges, the anxieties, the insights, whatever experience, whatever sensations or thoughts or the experiences that you are experiencing, acknowledging each thought or feeling and accepting it without needing to figure it out or without needing to exploring it further. So this is how you approach a situation using mindfulness. You approach a situation without a situation as it comes, without judgment, without any labeling, and accepting whatever you experience as it comes. That's what mindfulness is. So from this example and from the definition given by John Kabat-Zinn, we can extract three main characteristics of mindfulness. That is intention. Intention. With what intention? So in the earlier example, your intention is to try the puzzle. So to cultivate awareness, and when you get distracted, to return to it again and again. Then attention to what is occurring in the present moment. Simply observing your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations as they arise. And then the third characteristic is attitude, which also is called a stance. An attitude of non-judgmental curiosity and kindness. So you approach the situation non-judgmentally, with curiosity and with kindness. Right. Now, why do people practice mindfulness? What motivates them to practice mindfulness? Mindfulness has become a very in the Western culture and in India also, it has become a very popular. So it's a buzzword nowadays. And so what motivates people to practice mindfulness? For some people, mindfulness is primarily a way to enhance health or performance. For others, mindfulness is a tool for self-exploration. And yet, for others, mindfulness is part of a spiritual path, a way to develop insight into the human condition and freedom from suffering. So these are the reasons or the motivation reasons which motivates people to practice mindfulness. But regardless of the motivation, scientists have found that practicing mindfulness is associated with, as I have mentioned earlier also, that practicing mindfulness is associated with changes in the structure and function of the brain, as well as changes in our physiological responses to stress, suggesting that this practice has important impacts on our physical and emotional health. So the other benefits associated with mindfulness is it also helps us to better able to live in the present moment, as opposed to dwelling on the past, which cannot be changed, or the future, which is subject to change. And also it strengthens emotional intelligence, bringing a greater awareness of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, as well as impact on others. It also enhances concentration and brings a greater sense of overall well-being. So, using mindfulness for stress reduction. We all know that stress impacts both our minds and bodies. When you are under stress, your thoughts you might find your thoughts racing in circles, racing in cycles, and you can't escape. You might feel restless, anxious, unable to concentrate, and you might also become irritable, impulsive, angry, or aggressive. And over time, you might experience insomnia, reduced pain tolerance, and hypervigilance. So it is helpful to know how to shift out of this aroused state to a relaxed state where your mind and body are at rest. So practicing mindfulness can provide that shift. That is how we use mindfulness for reducing the stress. So to support the effectiveness of mindfulness in reducing the stress, there are various evidence, there are ample evidence supporting the effectiveness of mindfulness in stress reduction. So a 2014 review by Sharma, which specifically looked at the impact of mindfulness for stress reduction, found that of the 17 studies, 16 demonstrated positive changes in psychological or physiological outcomes related to anxiety and stress. So with this study, the authors concluded that mindfulness-based stress reduction appears to be a promising modality for stress management. Another recent systematic review in the journal, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, found that meditation programs can result in small to moderate reduction of multiple negative dimensions of psychological stress. So the authors concluded that the effects of a mindfulness meditation program are similar to the use of an antidepressant, but without the associated toxicities. So here the authors concluded that the mindfulness-based meditation has the similar effects as that of antidepressants used in treating psychological issues. The other reviews also published in the last 2 years consistently report that mindfulness meditation has a positive impact on anxiety and stress. So let's see what are the different techniques of mindfulness. There are various techniques of mindfulness. So I have mentioned only few of them. A very common mindfulness technique is body scan, which I will be demonstrating after this session. Then another one is mindful walk. So then mindful eating and loving kindness and compassion. So mindful walk, how do you do mindful walk? Here also there are various ways to practice mindful walk. A simple example would be you focus on your breathing while you're walking. So when you walk, each time you breathe in, you take as many steps as you can. And when you breathe out, when you exhale, take as many steps as you can. So inhale, take many steps. Exhale, take many steps. So that way you focus your attention on your breathing as well as on the number of steps you take. So that is an example of mindful walk. Then mindfulness eating or drinking. So drinking, I will also explain further. Then loving kindness and compassion. So it is a mindfulness based meditation which is oriented towards enhancing compassion towards the self as well as towards others. Right. These are some of the techniques, only few techniques I have mentioned, but there are many techniques, and some people, some mental health professionals use mindfulness as intervention programs for treating mental health issues, while some people use it as a way to practice a more better lifestyle. However, any activity can become a mindful exercise if you take the time to experience it. So you can inculcate mindfulness in your daily activities. Say, take for example, while making a cup of tea, take some time to experience the preparation of the tea. By when you prepare the tea, use all your senses, right? So you can start with the way the tea smells. So opening your sense of smell. Then the sound of the boiling water. Opening your sense of sound. Then the way your arms lift the tea to bring it to your lips. And then the way the warmth feels in your body. So opening your sense of touch. Then the way it tests, how the tea tests, opening your sense of taste. So this way, slowing down the process of drinking a cup of tea not only will invite you to become more present, but also quiets the mental conversation. So taking a pause here to appreciate the process of preparing a cup of tea, from the way it smells to the way your arms lift to bring it to your lips. This allows you to live in the present and quiet a worried mind. Because our mind, if you notice, when you are doing something, say driving, while you are driving, and this example while you're making tea, while you're brushing, most of the time if you notice, our minds will be somewhere, either in the past or the future, or thinking about your plans, your plannings, or the routines of the day. So very rarely our mind will be at the present moment. So mindfulness teaches us or helps us to bring ourselves to embrace the present moment. So these are some of the techniques, and I will be demonstrating the body scan. Now to conclude, I would like to conclude that mindfulness is a skill which we can all develop through practice. And you find something you love to do and give it your full attention. It's going to happen that you eventually will become distracted by your thoughts, but that's fine, because that's what our mind does. The key is to continue to draw yourself back to the practice without judgment and continue with your intention. So with this, I would like to wind up my presentation here. In order to make you more like, you will understand mindfulness when you practice it. So I would like to demonstrate a very brief mindfulness technique, which is called body scan, in order to help you to explain, in order to help you to understand what mindfulness is. Right. Before starting, I would like to, I have sent 2 Google forms, which I would like you to take 5 minutes of your time and fill a Google form which I have sent to Sir Dinamani. Have you received the Google form? Okay. No. Is Dinamani sir present?
Ma'am, the form has
Ma'am?
also been sent on the chat box also. They have been mailed also, but they have been shared on this chat box also. So I think
Okay.
many students must have filled that form.
Okay. Okay. So everybody has filled up that form? Has everyone filled a form?
So ma'am, I can see a few yes here. They have filled the form.
Okay.
Miss Cicera, can we please share the link again so that they all can
Yeah, I think
fill?
most of them
sure, ma'am.
have yes, okay.
And most of
Yeah.
them filled, yes, yes.
All right, all right. So then I will proceed with the demonstration then.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So just I just want
Ma'am,
to
post session form also you want to be filled up,
no,
right?
no, no. Post session, no. Post session after this demonstration, send the post session
Okay,
form.
okay, sure. Miss
Hmm.
Cicera, please take note of it.
Hmm. After this demo, please send the other form, the post
Okay,
session one.
okay.
So you will receive another form after the session. So yeah, for now you can fill this pre-session form first. All right. So please let me know if you can hear this music. The music that I am playing, is it audible?
No, ma'am, it's not audible.
It's not audible. This one?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, so when you click share option,
Okay.
in that there is an option called automatically optimize.
Share content.
Yes,
Share
and
web
then
browser.
there is
Share.
something above automatically optimize. Can you see that?
No, I can't see when I pick the share option. Share content, share web browser, share multimedia. These are
It's above, ma'am, right side.
right side. It's right side.
Automatically optimize. Is
Oh,
there something?
automate. No, no, no. This is annotated.
No, no.
No, it's not there. I am.
Ma'am, what you yes. Now try sharing again.
Mm-hmm.
And now I hope you should be able to see automatically optimize
Wait.
option.
Uh, I am not able to see it.
Wait, ma'am, let me try to show you. So can you see my screen? No, no, not here.
Pardon me for taking time. I am not very good with this. Uh, so can I'll just try with the from my phone. Uh, Is it visible or is it audible? Yes. All right. I'll use. Okay. Thank you so much for the patience. All right. I hope everyone, if preferably, if you have a headphone, please wear it. And is it possible for everyone, if it's possible, I would like everyone to put on their video, I mean their camera on, so that I can, it will be more better, like if I can see your faces. May I request everyone to put on your camera? Some of you. Right. Okay. Seems like, yeah. Thank you. It's all right. If it's all right with you, some of you at least please put on your camera. And if you have a headphone, please wear it. And if you are, thank you so much, participants. Yeah. Okay. And if you are wearing glasses, please take your glasses out and you can keep it on your table. Yeah. And you can remove your mask for a while. All right. Okay, so I will proceed with body scan, which is a mindfulness technique which takes around 10 to 15 minutes only. I would like you to pay attention and listen carefully. You don't need to respond. Right? Please sit comfortably and allow your back to be straight but not stiff. Sit comfortably in a comfortable position. Your hands could be resting on your lap, or you can keep your hands on your sides. All right. And gently, please close your eyes. Gently close your eyes and listen carefully to my instructions. Take a few long, deep breaths and then exhale slowly. Again, take a deep breath and then exhale slowly. Feel your breath as it goes in and comes out. Please do not open your eyes until I tell you to do so. Now, slowly bring your attention to the top of your head. How does it feel? Just gently observe your sensations in this area. Keep observing the sensations on the top of your head. Slowly shift your attention to your forehead and observe this part of your body. What do you feel here? Is your forehead feeling warm or cold? Just observe your sensation. Gradually bring your focus downward to your eyes, your nose, your chin, and ears. Become curious about the sensations you experience. Now, very gently shift your attention to your shoulders and sweep it down to your upper back and chest. Observe how your chest rises and falls as you take a breath and release it. And as you are doing this, gradually move your attention to your stomach and your lower back. What do you feel here? How come you have these feelings? With loving kindness, just observe these feelings. Now, slowly bring your awareness to your upper arms, then go down to your lower arms, your hands and fingers. Notice what your fingertips are telling you. Just gently observe the sensations on these parts of your body. As you are noticing these sensations, you might find your mind wandering off. That's okay. That's what the mind does. Gently bring your mind back to noticing the sensation at your fingertips. Now, gradually move your focus to your hips, your thighs, your calves, and ankles. Observe the sensation of the sofa against your thighs. Is it hard or soft? Is the chair hard or soft? Bring your attention to your feet and toes. Notice the sensations here. What is going on with these parts of your body? Just notice. Now, take a moment to scan your whole body. Just sweep your attention from the top of your head down to your toes. Feel the sensation. Feel the gentle rhythm of the breath as it moves through the body. And now, take a deep, long breath and then exhale it slowly. Again, slowly inhale and then exhale. Once again, take a deep breath in and then exhale it slowly. When you are ready, please open your eyes and return your attention to the present moment. You can open your eyes. Thank you so much. So that was body scan. Actually, here the ambience is very important. I have seen and like I am not able to see much of many of the many of you. The lighting should be dim light, because like it will help us to focus on the instructions better, right? So if the light is very bright, then we will have some difficulty to focus. But that's fine. Like initially, since for those who have tried meditation, you might find it little easier to focus. And for those who are doing it for the first time, you might find it very difficult to focus, and you might not even be able to focus at all. But that's fine. What mindfulness teaches us is that as long as we keep on practicing, and it's all right even if we are not able to focus, right? So now I would request Mr. Dinamani sir to send the other form. Miss Sisira,
Ma'am, I have shared it on the chat already. I'll share it again.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Everyone please fill the second form. And with this, I would like to wind up my session for today. Thank you so much. Right.
Any questions?
Any questions? Yeah. Yeah, some Miss Purushota. What ID? Why? If there are any questions, you can please ask. Please go ahead. Okay. In this pandemic, many people lost their jobs. How can we deal the stress situation? So the all right. So as a like during this pandemic, yeah, like it has been stressful for many of us. Stressful in different ways. Like for some people, it's the job stress. For some people, it's sitting at home and then continuing with their job, working from home. It's difficult because it's different. The ambience is different from working in the office. So that stress factor, and for some it's the job loss, and for some it's family stress, like because of the restrictions of movements like band and all, you are bound to stay at home initially, and all the family members together seeing each other's face and like day and night and day out. So there, like it's another stress. So different kind of stress it comes. Now job stress, so it's a, when we say mindfulness, it's a way of living, a skillful way of living, right? When you are under stress, if you notice how the stress is developed. You might have in the previous sessions you might have learned about healthy stress and unhealthy eustress and distress, right? So the stress, is it becoming disturbing your daily activities, right? If it is that, then it's an unhealthy stress and you might need to do something about it, right? So what like you are under stress because you have lost your job. Now, what kind of thoughts are coming to your mind because of the job loss? How do you perceive your job loss? I'm not able, there are many questions, but I'm not able to read any of them because of, I'm trying to answer the first one. Yeah, one by one I'll see. So how are you approaching the situation? What kind of perspective? Is the job the only job that you were able to get? This kind of thought. Just observe. If you see, when you are under stress for a job loss, you might have lot of this automatic pilot, as I mentioned earlier. You might be having lot of automatic pilot, right? And these automatic pilot, oftentimes it is more of negative automatic thoughts. Right? Oh, I lost my job. I will not be able to get another job. How will I survive with the job? And with no money, like how can I, my daily expenses, how can I maintain my daily expenses? So all these thoughts keep racing in, right? Pause. In mindfulness, right? It's once when you do it, it will not be helpful. You need to practice it again and again, and you need to practice until and unless you practice, you'll not, the benefits of it, we will not be able to see, right? Just 10 minutes of your practice is enough. The body scan, I have told the tea, making a cup of tea. So when you are under stress, your thoughts will keep racing. So in order to when you're under stress, your thoughts are racing and you are not in the present moment. Take a break, take some time of 10 minutes and inculcate mindfulness. Open your sensations, open your awareness and proceed the situation with an attitude of non-judgmental and with an attitude of acceptance. Acceptance of many people have lost their jobs. Losing the job doesn't mean the end of the world. What can you do? What are the perspectives? See the situation with an open perspective. What other alternatives can you see? Right? All right. There was, who was the one? Hello, ma'am. During this pandemic, all students are having online classes. It went off. The question again. Can you send the question again, please? Or you can unmute yourself and then you can tell. You can unmute yourself and you can ask. Why is it? I'm not able to see the questions. Can you unmute yourself and ask? Okay. During this pandemic, all students are having online classes only. Again, it's going off. Yeah, can you please unmute yourself and then ask?
So the question is, during this pandemic, all students are having online classes only. How can we control the pressure we get by sitting in front of mobile screen for 6 hours a day?
Oh yeah, yeah. 6 hours a day, right? Yes, we have many cases of because of this pandemic, we have many cases of mobile addiction, internet addiction, gadget addictions, and some also develop this some disorders like obsessive compulsive disorders because of the frequent use of the mobile. Like I had a client who had to attend 12 classes in a day. So this makes people very stressful. Although I can understand that many of you online classes will make students. So because of this, I do understand that it's making the students more stressful, because 6 hours a day you have to sit in front of the computer or laptop or your laptop or on your mobile. So taking a break is necessary, very much necessary now. So that's how, like, I have told you about how you can inculcate mindfulness in your everyday life. When you are in a sitting in the class, you might be do you get some break? 5-10 minutes break? 3 hours continuously. So in between breaks, or after that, what do you do? After your class, what do you do? You have lunch and snacks. Now, and I sit 1 hour break. In that 1 hour break, you can practice it like 5, 10, 15 minutes. You can go for a mindful walk, or when you are taking the lunch, I mentioned about mindful eating. When you can use that also. When you take the lunch, if you have enough time, what do you do normally? Usually what we do is, when we take lunch or when we eat something, we just eat for the sake of eating. We don't pay attention to what we are eating, the experience of eating. The way that, like, opening all your senses when you eat your food, if it's a chapati or rice, how does it feel when you touch the rice or the chapati? What are the colors you are seeing? How is the texture of the chapati or the rice? How does it feel when you lift your hands up to bring the chapati or the rice to your mouth, and when you put it, chew it first properly, and then swallow it after chewing it properly. So the experience of eating the food, the process of eating the food, pay your full attention to that. How long do you take to eat your lunch? If 10, 15 minutes. If you don't pay attention, maybe in a couple of seconds you finish, right? So use that 15 minutes to pay your full attention to what you are eating and see the difference. Notice the difference. When without mindful eating and with mindful eating, how is the experience different? Just notice. And see if how you feel after mindful eating. Anything? Anything else? Any more questions? Miss foster family members. Again, can you, Miss Sisira, can you please read the question?
Yes, ma'am. Now we are resuming to office after the lockdown situation. How do we approach other employees, those who have lost their family members? What are the motivations and empathies the person need to relax from depression? What can be done? Please share your comments.
Yeah, for those employees who have lost their family members during the pandemic, and if you are I'm very sorry for the loss, and if you are experiencing distress because of the loss, most probably you might be going through a grieving period. So if it's making you very difficult uh, to bear the loss, it's always suggestive to approach a mental health professional, because we have a grief counseling. Because grieving, it's a stage. So there will be supportive therapy as well as grief counseling. Grieving is a natural process where when we lose someone who's very close to us, we go through the grieving process, and it's natural for everyone. However, for some people, this process becomes very difficult, and this process becomes very long. And sometimes the grieving process, the person might also develop something called complicated grief, prolonged grief. So if the grieving period is very much distressful for you, then approaching or consulting a mental health professional is very much advisable, because they are trained in different therapies to go to how to, they will psychoeducate you and also give you supportive therapy to help you to go through the grieving process. And if you know anyone, any employees who is going through a difficult phase, please you can suggest them to talk. Even talking to a friend is also helpful, right? Sometimes, like what happens is, when you are under a lot of stress and you are keeping it inside you, not letting it out for the fear that what people might think, or for any other reason, right? So that when you are suppressing your emotion, you need to release, you need to ventilate your emotion. So talking to a friend or a mental health professional will make yourself lighter. When we share the burden that we are carrying to ourselves, when we share it with someone, then it makes us a little lighter, right? Anything else? Any more questions? Thank you so much. Miss Sisira, I think some questions I left unanswered.
Ma'am, someone is asking, is it applicable for chronic stress also?
What is applicable? This chronic stress. You mean the mindfulness practice? Yes, for chronic stress. So we have like not only mindfulness, we have other techniques also, like the relaxation techniques, progressive muscle relaxation technique, JPMR, and guided imaginary techniques. Many other techniques are there for managing chronic stress. So mindfulness also is also used as intervention technique for chronic stress. Hmm. Yes. And this body scan also really helps for those experiencing prolonged pain or chronic stress. Anything else? Any more questions? Are there any questions that you would like to ask? 3 ways meditation supports. Again, Ms. Sisira, can you please repeat the question?
In these 3 days, we have seen 3 ways: meditation, sports, and mindfulness. Which will be preferable for immediate response?
Immediate response. I would like to ask, what do you mean by immediate response?
From stress.
From stress. These are, as my previous colleagues and the previous presenters have mentioned, different types of managing stress. You can use any of the techniques. There is no perfect technique for, we cannot have a perfect technique, because each of the technique, for some people one technique might work, and for some the same technique might not work. So which technique works best for you, and which technique you can follow it well, so that will be the technique for you, the technique which applies to you the most, uh, uh, which benefits you the most, and which you can easily do it, and which you prefer doing it. Like, say, if you are a sports person, like, if you like sports, then playing any kind of sports, playing badminton, cricket, football, or going to the gym, you can try that. If you are someone who are used to meditation, like who have been meditating, so you can use the meditation and also mindfulness. And if you are someone who likes to try new things, new techniques, then you can try mindfulness. So that way you can choose the technique according to your preference. Okay. Anything else? Thank you. All right. So I think no more questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Miss Sisira, shall I wind up here then?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. So just exit. So have a nice day, everyone. I will be exiting now.
Ma'am, you can share your email ID in the chat, and if anyone has any questions, they can ask you later.
Okay, yeah. So chat, I am not so good here. Thank you. 1 second. 1 second. Just give me a moment. I'll just unmute and stop my video for the camera for a while. Yeah, I have just now sent my email ID. Miss Sisira, I have sent the email count.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. So can I leave now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your responses, for filling the feedback form. Thank you so much. And have a nice day. Thank you.
Kopal, ma'am. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, Mrs. Sir.
Yes.
Ma'am, is Anil Gupta sir here?
Yes, just in he's joining in a minute. Sir, are you here? So we are just closing the program. Don't worry. So we are just Waiting for Professor Anil Kumar Gupta sir. Will be joining in a minute. Right, so I will explain the process for downloading your certificate. So now maybe tomorrow. So when we get the attendance from the organizers from NIT Manipur, so you can go back to the portal where you have registered for this program, and you can once again go to this particular program, and it'll there will be a tab called feedback form. So you can click on the feedback form, you can fill up the feedback form, and once you have filled it up and submitted it, there is a tab called generate certificate will appear. So if you have completed your 80% of the training program, so this tab will appear and you will be able to download your certificate of the program. Okay. So in case you face any difficulty downloading your certificate, you can let me know. I will help you out. Thank you. So you can mail me on this email ID. You can mail me on this email ID if you're facing any difficulty. I have posted in the chat box. So you can let me know if you're facing any difficulty in downloading certificates. Miss Sisra, will Dina sir be joining?
Sir is unavailable. He has some urgent work, so he won't be able to join us.
Okay, so you will be giving the vote of thanks also, right?
No, some other sir will be giving the vote
Okay,
of
okay,
thanks.
okay, okay. Okay, so sir is here with us. A very good
Yes.
afternoon, Professor Ranil Kumar Gupta, sir. So we were waiting for you only. So our session for today, the speakers have completed the sessions today. You're most welcome to please give your closing remarks, sir. Good afternoon, sir. So can you hear us? Sir, you're on mute.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Ha ha ha. Ha. So, are you waiting for me?
Yes, sir. We were waiting for you only.
Okay, okay. So there was a silence. So I was waiting for a few minutes that there was some silence. Ha ha. Anyway.
So we already invited you, sir, and everybody was waiting for you for your remarks,
Okay,
sir.
okay. I was thinking that why there is a silence. Mhm. I was thinking whether there is a technical problem in my computer or what. Ha, ha. Anyway, so today actually I could not join earlier. But this program has been really very wonderful. So yesterday's program was also excellent, and first day program was really great. The kind of topics that were covered, and speakers were also of wide ranging. So that is also important that they could bring wider perspective of this subject. And as we have witnessed that uh, disasters have multidisciplinary aspects. So, psychosocial issues and other issues of, I would say, that social being uh, that have not been highlighted earlier in the earlier regime of disaster management, because initially we had this thought process that either we can control disasters, because I recall that 90s during the period of United Nations International Decade for Disaster Reduction, UNID and DR, their magazine, the title was Stop Disasters, as if we can stop disaster. But later it was realized that we cannot actually stop disasters. Either we can reduce the intensity and impact of disasters, or we can prevent disasters to some significant level by our interventions on risk and vulnerability. So that has become very important. And when we discuss about risk and vulnerability also, so it emerges that not only technical dimensions, but social dimensions are also equally important. These days, particularly past 1 decade or so, what I have seen that even the technological institutions have also started blending lot of humanitarian dimensions into the engineering domains also, and mm, even the planning issues, policy issues, humanitarian issues, based on the consideration that these are the very important aspects of human productivity and human performance also. On the other hand, the social sciences have also transformed, and social sciences are now utilizing the potentials of technological advances. For example, even the psychological research or social research also using a lot of the computational technologies and the machine learning based tools also to come up with the useful inferences, particularly when they have to deal with the huge amount of data kind of. However, the stresses and stress management cuts across all and all kind of disasters, natural hazards as well as human induced or man-made disasters. That some people used to call it man-made. I do not call it man-made because mm, then we usually say that human induced, and otherwise also there is no natural disaster actually. Natural may be hazard, but disaster is always the human always is there whenever there is a disaster. So the rainfall may be natural, but a devastating flood, when a flood causes havoc, the human angle is involved. So that has been witness also past decade or 15 years, if we take the count of various disasters happening in various places, various parts of the country and otherwise also. So that is a very important aspect. And stress management, I think the entire cycle of disaster management, so starting from the risk identification and assessment, and then mitigation practices, so pre-disaster also and post-disaster also. Although the visible symptoms of stress and the visible focus of on stress management and trauma control has been on an emergency response phase or crisis management phase. But I always advocate that the emphasis on stress management should start even pre-disaster phase also, because if we can reduce stresses, or if we can provide the necessary support to people, vulnerable people or the people who are exposed to various kind of hazards, I think their vulnerability would reduce, and they will have better precision, better preparedness, and better resources to deal with the disaster situation, and to cope up with these kind of situations. So I think I consider stress management as a more proactive and risk reduction approach, not only a kind of a post-disaster approach. However, disasters leave with these kind of scars in the minds of people or in the memories of people. So certainly counseling, the support, and the stress management at all the levels, stress management at the level of self, stress management at the level of the victims, stress management at the level of community, and also the disaster managers, all people. uh, so but certainly stresses are different kind of challenges are there by face based on depending on the situation, depending on the roles of the person in the given situation. So that is important. Then the third level also, because now globally there is a greater focus on recovery mechanisms. So I think the stress management now we are promoting as very important aspect of recovery framework also. So we have been talking about the infrastructure recovery, for example, that we rebuild the house, so build back better, then livelihood recovery. But I think social recovery and humanitarian dimensions in recovery have also emerged as very important aspect. So how people can be rehabilitated socially as well as psychologically. I think that is also very important. So mental rehabilitation is equally important. So this program has touched upon all the issues that I'm referring here in various lectures, and that has been very successful program. So thank you to NIT Manipur for taking up this initiative, and my compliments to the entire organizing team from IIT Manipur and from NIT Manipur and NIDM, and my sincere thanks to all the speakers who brought a very good case studies also, not only theoretical lectures, but they were discussing good examples also, and the scenarios also, and thanks to all the participants who joined. Because of them, this program had been a great success. So thank you very much, and I wish you a happy weekend. And I consider that this is a beginning, not only end of program, but the learning is a continuous process. So this 3 days online program has certainly triggered very many questions, and have been able to give few answers also. So this has started a kind of a thought process in the minds of people who are associated with this program. So thank you so much, and congratulations to all. Thank you. And over to you, Dr. Kopal.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, you are a living example of introducing stress management in the workplace, because Mr. Michael, in fact, mentioned yesterday in his presentation that how during the second wave you took it to a regular practice for our team to regularly meet online and practice some breathing techniques and meditation. So you have yourself played a very big role in managing the stress of second wave, and so we are very thankful to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So Ms. Isra, you may please move the agenda forward.
Ma'am, should we move on with the vote of thanks, or is Manoj sir here to give the closing?
We can move ahead to the vote of thanks.
Okay. Now I invite Dr. Kesham Pritam Das, who is an assistant professor at NIT Manipur, to give the vote of thanks.
All can open their video also for some time, so that you can take few pictures also before they leave. If possible, or you go ahead with the vote of thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Susila. So I, on behalf of Dr. Dinamani Singh, would be giving the vote of thanks. So first of all, I would like to thank the patrons, Major General Manoj K. Bindal, Executive Director, and Professor Gautam Sudhardar, Director in NIT Manipur, for supporting the program, also for guiding and crashing the online training program. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to thank the conveners, Professor Anil K. Gupta, Head ECDRM Division NIDM, and Dr. A. Dinamani Singh, Dean Student Affairs in NIT Manipur, for initiating actually and for organizing such programs which are very much relevant with such difficult times. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you to Professor Anil K. Gupta for extending hands for collaborations in future, in near future, for organizing such events or such programs, if possible, even with offline training programs if the pandemic subsides. Thank you very much, sir. Then I would like to thank the eminent speakers from NIDM, RIMS, for accepting the invitation, first of all, then to share their know-hows about stress, then issues related with mental health and managing them. From the seasons, we have actually learned that there is actually a thing called stress that actually exists or come along with this pandemic in a very prominent way, other than the noticeable outcomes crisis which we can notice easily. So once again, thanking to all the eminent speakers from NIDM and RIMS. Then finally, I would like to thank coordinators, Dr. Kopal Verma and Ms. Pampak Kumaksam, say for especially to Dr. Kopal Verma for being there from the day one, saying planning the schedules, then making the speaker list, and making the technical arrangement. Dr. Kopal Verma was there from the beginning throughout the seasons, coordinating between NIDM and NIT Manipur. Once again, thank you, ma'am. Then finally, the technical teams from NIT Manipur and NIDM, they were there throughout the seasons, waiting for any technical issues to be solved, and waiting for the participants to sign in. Without them, it wouldn't be possible for the program to be conducted successfully. Thank you once again to the technical team. So let's all pray to God that the global pandemic subsides and ends very soon. Then we can see in person by arranging or by organizing an offline training program in NIT Manipur. Thank you once again to all the participants for being with us for the 3 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, it was really a pleasure for me as well to collaborate with NIT Manipur, and the program was really successful, and in fact very interesting, like out of the league and very interesting. And I can see all the participants enjoyed the program like anything, including me, sir. So it was a pleasure for me to collaborate with NIT Manipur and the entire team, the coordinating team. So thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much everyone for joining us. Thanks to all the participants. So here we are formally closing our 3-day online training program on stress management during pandemic, jointly organized by NIDM and NIT Manipur. So hope you all have been greatly benefited by it. And we will keep having such similar programs in future as well, and hope to see you all soon. So till then, stay protected, stay safe. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We may now formally close the session. Technical team, you may please close the session. Thank you so much.